So every year around Oscar time, you start to see these brutally honest ballots pop up on either Hollywood Reporter or Variety or some other business rag. And usually the headline reads something like, "Anonymous actor takes a dump on Moonlight," or "Director thinks Parasite is overrated." And the way they set it up, it seems like it's Brad Pitt or Steven Spielberg writing these things, when in actuality, it's probably Dave Coulier or the director of Paul Blart Mall Cop. Not sure if those guys are Academy members, but there are over 9,000 of them. So in honor of this Sunday's Oscars, I decided to share my own brutally honest assessment of the nominees. No, unlike Steve Carr, the director of Paul Blart Mall Cop, I do not have a vote at this Sunday show. But there's one more thing me and old Steve don't have in common, and that is I decided to actually watch these damn movies. Well, most of them anyway. So here we go. Push me this way. Oh yeah, you like that new effect. TMT just got a budget. It is now time for my brutally honest Oscar ballot, and brutal is exactly the word I would use to describe some of these nominees. Let's begin with Best Picture. Don't look up. More like, don't look up at the screen because this movie sucks. Nightmare Alley. More like, nightmarishly long alley. More of a road than an alley when you really think about it. The movie is so long. Belfast. More like Belfast asleep. What a snooze. The Power of the Dog. More like The Power of the Cat. Nap. CODA. More like Goda. Bed. Because I'm so tired after this movie. Dune. More like done. As in, I'm so done with this movie. Let me take my nap already. I'll have more to say about this category in a second. We'll come back to it. Best Director, your nominees: Kenneth Branagh for Belfast, Ryosuke Hamaguchi for Drive My Car, Paul Thomas Anderson for Licorice Pizza, Jane Campion for The Power of the Dog, and Steven Spielberg for West Side Story. You ever heard of him? Jane Campion is considered the overwhelming favorite to win this award, despite a joke that she made about Venus and Serena Williams at the Critics' Choice Awards just 2 weeks ago.
You know, Serena and Venus, you are such marvels. However, you do not play against the guys. Like I have to.
I guess the industry was outraged over this, and I don't know, man. The joke wasn't that funny. It just feels to me like award season needs a controversy like Jack Nicholson needs a grinder. Everybody quit grasping at straws. We don't have to cancel Jane Campion over this. Kenneth Branagh gets one of his 3 nominations for Belfast, another movie in an ongoing trend that has plagued Hollywood over the last few years. Alfonso Cuarón did Roma. Steven Spielberg is in production on The Fabelmans. You see, back in the day, if you were a great filmmaker, you would make exciting movies. Excitement was the key there. You'd make a movie about, I don't know, space, dinosaurs, a wizard, a guy stuck at JFK, you know, big screen movie stuff. Now you're a great filmmaker and you want to make a movie, it's got to be about, I don't know, your childhood or some nonsense. And it better be slow, and it better be in black and white, and your parents better be played by the hottest pieces of ass this side of Letterkenny. My God, Kenneth Branagh. If Moving Picture was around back then, Freud would have named the complex after you, my guy. Woof. Smoke shows. Anyway, deeply whatever movie. I hope it wins nothing. The other 3 nominees here? Solid. Steven Spielberg, icon. Paul Thomas Anderson, one of my all-time favorite filmmakers. And Ryosuke Hamaguchi, he gets my vote for Best Director on my brutally honest ballot. Best Actor, your nominees: Javier Bardem, Being the Ricardos. Woof. Benedict Cumberbatch, The Power of the Dog, Andrew Garfield for Tick, Tick, Boom, Will Smith for King Richard, and Denzel Washington, The Tragedy of Macbeth. Now, we all know for sure Nick Cage was robbed of a nomination here. It is the biggest snub of award season, in my opinion. Nick Cage for his work in Pig, in which he plays an ex-chef truffle hunter who navigates the seedy underground culinary world of Portland on the hunt for his kidnapped pig. It is the best performance of 2021, and you think I'm kidding. I'm not. It's an excellent film. Watch it on Hulu, I think. But we're left with these 5 guys. Javier Bardem. The Academy's got some splaining to do for this one. Huh? Yeah. Again with the dad jokes, Nico. Goodness gracious. If my YouTube demographic was any older, it would be dead. Benedict Cumberbatch is actually quite good in that movie, except every time he says the name Bronco Henry, I feel the need to laugh out loud. I will say this, Andrew Garfield has not quite clicked for me since Social Network. I think he's a very talented actor, but the thing about Social Network is he was working with David Fincher, who makes you do 50 to 100 to 200 takes of the same scene. He will beat the sincerity out of you. And I feel like ever since Garfield left Fincher, he's been doing this theater kid shtick, which never worked for me. And this movie was the first time that it sort of worked. And I think the reason is obvious. He's playing a theater kid, Jonathan Larson, in Tick, Tick, Boom. Good performance, not my choice. Will Smith, according to the powers that be, is going to win unless something crazy happens. Cool. But you want to know something? I think my winner here is Denzel. And I know like Denzel Washington does not need any more Oscars, so whatever, you can give Will Smith his lifetime achievement. But Denzel in The Tragedy of Macbeth gives, I think, the definitive Macbeth performance of the last 50 years, maybe since the Orson Welles version. I mean, it is a truly original portrayal of a character that has been around for centuries and centuries. I'm gonna give it to Denzel here as cranky old man Macbeth. This is the category when things start to fall off the rails. Best Actress, your nominees: Jessica Chastain, The Eyes of Tammy Faye; Olivia Colman, The Lost Daughter; Penelope Cruz, Parallel Mothers; Nicole Kidman, Being the Ricardos; Kristen Stewart, Spencer. No Renate Reinsve from Worst Person in the World. No Alana Haim for Licorice Pizza. No Rachel Zegler for West Side Story. Instead, we have these 5 ladies. Jessica Chastain, in some Faustian bargain, has made herself the frontrunner in this category. I don't get it. It is a grating performance. That is the only word I could use to describe it. Cheese grater to the brain. Back and forth and back and forth. Shut up! And I guess Nicole Kidman is the second most likely here for Being the Ricardos. Another performance. Not quite a cheese grater, but maybe like some extra coarse sandpaper. Just slowly scraping away neurons. Just sanding my brain down so it's silky smooth. I don't get it. I have nothing bad to say about Olivia Colman and Penelope Cruz. Both fine, nice performances. But here at the bottom of the list, with seemingly no chance of winning on Sunday, is Kristen Stewart, who I think definitively gave the best performance of the year. I'm not really sure what the debate is. Her portrayal of Princess Diana in Spencer was kind of Oscar baity. It's about the royal family. It also fits the mold of the Oscar performance where you can't recognize the famous actress on screen. So, I don't know. What's the debate here? Kristen Stewart, that's my choice. Jeez. Best Supporting Actor. Your nominees: Kieran Hines for Belfast, Troy Kutzer for CODA, Jesse Plemons, The Power of the Dog, J.K. Simmons, Being the Ricardos, Cody Smith-McPhee, The Power of the Dog. This is usually my favorite category. Remember in 2019 when it was Brad Pitt, Anthony Hopkins, Al Pacino, Joe Pesci, and Tom Hanks? This year we have Pop from Belfast and Landry from Friday Night Lights. I guess we'll go with Cody Smith-McPhee. Goodness. Not a great year for the supporting actors. Best Supporting Actress: Jessie Buckley for The Lost Daughter, Ariana DeBose for West Side Story, Judi Dench for Belfast, Kirsten Dunst for The Power of the Dog, Angelou Ellis, King Richard. Well, these are pretty good. Can't really make fun of these nominees at all. Oh, wait, yes, I can. Dame Judi Dench picks up her 8th Oscar nomination. Yes, you could have predicted this nomination a year ago. You didn't even need to know that Judi Dench was starring in a movie this year. But Dame Judi Dench, here she is again as an Oscar nominee. Hey, what a lovely performance. Herbert, didn't you think that was a lovely performance? Oh, Jesus Christ. Did you see the movie? Did you see the damn movie? She's playing a character named Granny. She sits on a couch for 10 minutes. Then it's over. The couch is doing more work in the scene than Judi Dench is. My apologies to international treasure Dame Judi Dench. I'll go chalk on this one. Ariana DeBose as Anita, totally electric, steals every scene in that movie. She's gonna win on Sunday. Well deserved. Best Animated Feature: Encanto, Flea, Luca, The Mitchells versus the Machines, Raya, and The Last Dragon. I would give it to Encanto, but if I have to hear that Bruno song one more time, I'm going to gouge my eardrums out. I do not get it. So just for overplay alone, I'm disqualifying Encanto. Let's go Mitchell's versus the Machines. A loud, explosive assault on the senses from Phil Lord and Chris Miller. I really like their animation style because they let animated movies be animated. They have a massive canvas and they paint with it. It's what I want out of animation. Mitchell's versus the Machines. Best animated movie of 2021. Best international feature. Drive My Car from Japan. Flea from Denmark. The Hand of God from Italy. Lulana, a Yak in the Classroom from Bhutan. And The Worst Person in the World from Norway. I will admit I have only seen 3 of these. As much as I've always wanted to see what would happen if you put a yak in a classroom. What lesson plan is this a part of? How is a yak used as a teaching tool? Is it safe for the children? Is there a law in Florida right now banning yaks from classrooms? Ron DeSantis, where are you? Bhutan needs you. Worst Person in the World, one of the best movies of the year. Not my choice though, because Drive My Car was just a little bit better. It is the biggest lock this Sunday. Drive My Car, best international feature. Best documentary: Ascension, Attica, Flea, Summer of Soul, or When the Revolution Could Not Be Televised, Writing with Fire. Again, only saw 2 of these. My apologies to all of these, I'm sure, very talented filmmakers. You may notice that I repeated the title Flea 3 times over the past few minutes. That was not a typo. Flea has been nominated in 3 separate categories. It is the first film ever to be nominated for Best Animated Feature, Best Documentary, and Best Foreign Film. Never happened before. And it's one of those things that the Oscars couldn't really resist. It's an animated documentary. How many of those have you seen in your life? And it is a cool premise, but then I watched the movie and I don't know. Animated documentary is kind of like Oreo wine or Heelys or a loofah that doubles as a toaster oven. Some things do not need to be combined. So again, this is out of ignorance, but I don't imagine there's a better documentary from last year than Summer of Soul. So that's my choice. All right, let's start flying through these. Best original score. I love me some Radiohead. I love me some Johnny Greenwood. I actually thought his score in Spencer was better, but I'm going to give him the award here for Power of the Dog. Best original song. Look, this is the worst category at the Oscars. Not just because movie songs are a thing of the past, but because the Oscars force us to sit through a live performance of every single one of these mediocre songs. There are some big names here. Beyonce, Billie Eilish, Lin-Manuel Miranda. It's the only reason why the Oscars keeps doing this stupid category. But I will say this, folks. Not all heroes wear capes. And Diane Warren, the Dan Marino of the original song category, is one of those heroes. 13 nominations for Diane Warren throughout her illustrious career. 13 original songs nominated for Oscars. She's been nominated for Con Air. She's been nominated for Armageddon. She's been nominated for Pearl Harbor. And that really is the big 3 right there, if you think about it. That is the peak of cinema. Diane Warren had a hand in all 3. But Diane Warren, as of 2022, winless in this category. And this year shall be no different. No Time to Die. These songs blow. What do you want from me? I'm gonna say the truth that no one wants to utter. There shouldn't be any short films in the Oscars. Oscars are for the big boys. It's for the features. If you're a short, go start your own ceremony. 90 minutes and above. Obviously, I didn't watch any of these shorts. I doubt any of the voters watched any of these shorts, so I'm gonna do what I imagine most of the Academy did this past week, and that is choose by random. Documentary short. I guess I gotta do this 5 times. Audible wins Best Documentary Short. Live action short. Here we go. Daddy needs a new pair of bird dogs. Congratulations to The Dress. Best live action short. All right. Easy now. Easy now. Congrats to Robin. Best sound. Thank Christ they finally combined these categories. You know, I actually thought the sound design in Belfast was quite bad. And that's not my bias towards the movie, which I did not care for at all. But while I was watching it, I actually did notice some inconsistencies in the mix. But I don't know, this is what the Oscars do. We'll talk about this in a second with the editing category, but it's usually not the best sound design that wins, but the most sound designing. Let's go with Dune. Yeah, lots of bass, lots of boom. I like that. I like when a movie vibrates me. Best production design. Consensus is probably right on this. Guillermo del Toro movies don't really do anything for me these days, but the sets are always immaculate. Nightmare Alley. There you go. Best cinematography. Bruno De Bonnell, one of the best in the biz, gets the nod from me for The Tragedy of Macbeth. Shooting in black and white is an underrated skill set. What a lot of cinematographers will do is they'll shoot a black and white movie as though it's a color movie and then just convert to black and white in post. That's what happened, for example, with Belfast. Not here. You could tell from the moment they walked onto the set, every shot was meant to pop in black and white. A lot of high contrast, a gorgeous movie to look at. Tragedy of Macbeth. Best makeup and hairstyling. Coming to America. Yes, Oscar nominee. Coming to America. Made me wish Eddie Murphy had stayed in retirement. Cruella. Dune. The Eyes of Tammy Faye, the frontrunner for this award at the Oscars on Sunday. And finally, It is a house of the Gucci. As a pudgy Italian-American myself, let me just say I did not appreciate Jared Leto's makeup in House of Gucci. Eyes of Tammy Faye, I guess. Best costume design. You know, when I first saw the trailer for Cyrano, it made me want to quit watching movies for the rest of my life. So I guess you could say my bar was very low. But you know what? Good songs, good performances. The dink is really good. You could do worse. I'm gonna go with Dune on this one though, even though I wasn't quite sure what those bendy straws were on everyone's nose. Not really into the books. Not a big Frank Herbert fan. Best film editing. Again, this is what I was talking about. Don't Look Up, the worst edited film of 2021, gets a nomination here, much like Bohemian Rhapsody did its respective year. In fact, it won that award, did Bohemian Rhapsody. Again, the most editing is not the best editing. In fact, it is often the worst editing. Don't Look Up. Don't know what we're thinking there. Let's throw Tick, Tick, Boom a bone here. I liked that movie. Best visual effects. Dune, Free Guy, No Time to Die, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, Spider-Man, No Way Home. Did y'all see Free Guy? Dude, I'm not a big gamer, but like, who would play the game in Free Guy? Who would play a game where you have to rob a bank and then ride like a moose to the beach where you have to fight a giant lizard? I guess now that I mention it, that sounds like a pretty damn good game. I've turned the corner on Free Guy. No, I haven't. Awful movie. Ryan Reynolds, go away! This is also one of the worst years for Marvel movies. The Shang-Chi special effects were horrendous. Some of those backgrounds looked like Windows wallpaper at times. And Spider-Man No Way Home. Like, listen, I'm happy you're all happy. I'm happy that you're enjoying this moment. I want what's best for you, mi amigo. But let's be honest, that is an evil movie. It's like playing the fiddle while Rome burns, you know? You know that episode of SpongeBob where Squidward throws the talent show and he's been training for this moment his entire life? That's one of the defining characteristics of Squidward tentacles. So he's at the talent show and he does this interpretive dance and he gets booed off the stage and it's this heartbreaking moment for a starving artist. And then SpongeBob comes out there with a bucket and a mop and starts cleaning up the tomatoes and the audience starts erupting in thunderous applause. That's my experience in the theater when Daredevil is on screen and the guy behind me goes, yes! Like, you are not moved by the movie. Let's just be clear about that, right? It's just Kevin Feige showing you characters that you liked in previous movies. That's what's happening. Look, Andrew Garfield. Yeah! Look, Willem Dafoe. Yeah! Look, a guy with a broom and dustpan. Yeah! Like, guys, enough. Dune. Best Adapted Screenplay. Again, this list doesn't look that much different from the Best Picture category. I guess CODA is the frontrunner, if you believe what Vegas has to say. Maggie Gyllenhaal gets a nomination for The Lost Daughter, another movie that I thought kind of got the short end of the stick, her first screenwriting nomination. Dune is a good adaptation of a novel that many thought was impossible to adapt. Read some of the reviews for that David Lynch movie. In fact, watch the David Lynch version of Dune. You'll see what I mean. But again, I'm going Hamaguchi for Drive My Car. That movie wrecked me. I was a puddle by the end of that thing. Just contemplating life and mortality and purpose. Yeah. We're not going to get that brutally honest today. And Best Original Screenplay, Belfast, Don't Look Up, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, The Worst Person in the World. All right, let's go back to full screen for a second. Thank you. I need to talk directly to you, the people. Ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, I say this with profound sincerity and without an ounce of hyperbole. Don't Look Up is the worst movie ever made. It makes Batman and Robin look like The Dark Knight. It makes Plan 9 from Outer Space look like 2001: A Space Odyssey. It makes The Room look like Room. That's how bad this movie is. Best Picture, I wouldn't give this a Best Dad mug. Yet here it is, as one of the 5 best scores, as one of the 5 best original screenplays, as one of the 5 best displays of editing, and as one of the 10 best movies of the year, according to the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. What is going on? And I know I'm not the only one that thinks this way. I remember what the response was last December when the movie hit Netflix. Critics and audiences were divided straight down the middle. It was one of the biggest Twitter debates of 2021 when users found the time to discuss something other than Joe Rogan and Dave Chappelle for a change. Can I read to you what Adam McKay tweeted in the midst of that Twitter controversy? Of course you can, Nico. It's your video. Loving all the heated debate about our movie, but if you don't have at least a small ember of anxiety about the climate collapsing or the US teetering, I'm not sure Don't Look Up makes any sense. It's like a robot viewing a love story. Why are their faces so close together? Stylized like I imagine a robot would talk. Adam, check and mate, my friend. Check and mate. All of us that thought your movie was garbage just thought so because we didn't care enough about the penguins. Obviously. But you know who is sensitive enough to get it? The Academy voters. Of course, the wealthy Academy voters that happen to live in the private jet capitals of the world, but still, they care about the penguins. Wait. How about this? What if climate anxiety has nothing to do with it? What if the Academy voters were just swayed by Netflix's multi-million-dollar Oscar campaign? Or how about this? I'll do you one better. What if your movie actually sucks, but it just so happens to star every famous person on the planet aside from the zombified corpse of Laurence Olivier? I don't mean to dwell on this topic too much, but this tweet was precisely the reason I hated the movie. Movies should not require prerequisite courses. I don't have to be afraid of sharks to be terrified by Jaws. I don't need to be scared of aliens to be terrified by The Thing. It is not the audience's job to be scared. It is the job of the movie to scare the audience. And it's also the job of the filmmaker to tap into whatever human traits they can in order to achieve that purpose. And that is especially true of social satire, where the entire purpose of making the movie is to change people's minds. If Adam McKay only made Don't Look Up for people afraid of climate change, if those opposed to his worldview are incapable of understanding it, why make the movie in the first place? If you're just gonna preach to the choir, why even hold church service? And I gotta be honest, herein lies the entire problem with award season. The Oscars are not a celebration of the best movies of the year. That is a wholly subjective term. It's also not a celebration of the most popular movies of the year. You can look at the box office for the answer to that question. The Oscars exist to celebrate the most Oscar movies. Like any democratic process, studios survey their constituents and feed them exactly what they'd like to eat. And as long as anyone can remember, that diet has included war movies, musicals, period pieces, movies about movies. Good or bad has very little to do with it. It's all about how snugly a movie fits in to one of those categories. That's it. That's the game. The cart leads the horse. You make the movies for the people you know are going to like them, you alienate the audience you know never will, and you earn the shiny trophy in front of the ever-dwindling audience that cares. That's the Oscars. And I happen to be in that ever-dwindling audience. I neglected so many aspects of my personal life in order to watch these 38 movies only to complain about them. There are so many great movies out there for me to discover. Some of them may even have yaks in classrooms. I wouldn't know because I haven't seen them, but they're out there and I've been ignoring them. I've let a faceless group of Dave Couliers dictate my film watching habits. And why do I do it? Well, I don't know for sure, but I think I've spent most of my life obsessing about the Oscars because it's something we do together. It's the one time of year, or at least it used to be the one time of year, when laymen and cinephiles alike get together to argue about movies just like they're Siskel and Ebert. It's when my friends tell me they couldn't get through 10 minutes of Power of the Dog, when my mom tells me how cute the girl in Licorice Pizza was. Yes, the audience is diminished. Yes, its cultural power is all but zero, but the Oscars will remain a thorn in my side because I hold on to that stupid old-fashioned belief that movies should be experienced together. And in the meantime, I'll keep waiting in vain for the Oscars to get better. I'll wait for those moments like in 2020 when Parasite won Best Picture, when it seemed like this old body of voters was capable of change. And then I'll come to terms with the fact that they never will. The Oscars always regress to the mean. Some good movies, some bad ones, occasionally some great ones, and a few stinkers scattered throughout. Like this year, let's go back to that Best Picture category. Look, Belfast and Nightmare Alley weren't really for me, and CODA and King Richard were kind of disposable, and of course you know my thoughts on Don't Look Up by now. But Power of the Dog and Dune, even if I didn't connect with them, those are exquisitely crafted movies. West Side Story is the best thing Spielberg has made in 20 years. It is evidence that the old can actually be refreshing, not tiresome. Licorice Pizza is a Paul Thomas Anderson movie, so of course it's good. And then there's Drive My Car, which is my choice for Best Picture this year, not just because it's the best thing I saw in 2021, but because it is the furthest away from what we think of as Oscar bait. Yes, this can be a tiresome process. Yes, I want to shake Dave Coulier sometimes for giving Adam McKay an Oscar nod, but these are my Oscars. And that's as brutally honest as I can possibly be. This is Cultured. I hope to see you Sunday here on this channel for our live watch-along of the Academy Awards. See you then.